past few months have been really awesome. Just from the first couple of weeks when I met Coach Abe and her staff, you can tell that Coach Abe is really awesome. Like, she's all about empowering women and academics and family.
It's truly a blessing to have someone that's willing to do anything to help you grow as a basketball player as well as an individual. She wants us to go out in life and be productive.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of role models, so I wanted to make sure our young women could emulate another woman out there in the community. And so basketball's awesome, but this is just a platform to get women to their next journeys.
She talks about it 24/7, which is really good for me to have a coach, you know, care about ladies.
I think it's rare because not only has she won, but she's been in a situation before when she's turning programs around and sets you up as an individual. And when you feel confident about what your future holds and the steps you're taking to get to that future, you feel more confident about yourself, about your play, about everything.
As we do all that building, once we step on the court, they're very confident, you know, and I'm a big believer in women need to help women. To see Nyla want to be a pediatrician, that's super exciting to me. You know, Jocelyn wants to be an engineer. I've already connected her with some engineers here.
She's setting us up so that when we graduate, we're okay and we don't have to depend on anyone else.
I really do believe that they're buying into her philosophy and understanding that it's about empowering each other and being positive, and the results are remarkable.
She really means what she says. She's so confident that because she walks in and she commands so much attention, you're like, that looks good. Like, I'm trying to be like that when I grow up.
You know, when I first met Coach Abe at the University of Maine, something about her, the way she walks into a room, the confidence that she has, I mean, it empowered me immediately. And I walked shoulders back, head tall.
Our goal here at UCF is to get the students involved. I mean, we want to get them excited about women's basketball. We had a clinic and just show them positive energy, and it will be a lot of fun to come to our games, and obviously student support is going to be huge for us.
They were sleeping on us, and you know, women's basketball, they're like, oh, they're not going to hit you that hard. Oh, this is not going to be that hard, I can do it. But when they see how much our student athletes work every single day in and day out, and they get beat up, and I coach the coach players, and I got my suit jacket on, but you can't really see my muscles, but you know, I'm kind of strong. So I think that it was good for them to see, like, wow, they really put in work every single day.
We kind of did the exact same thing like if we were in practice. We told them to tuck in their shirts, put their hands behind their back. They did push-ups if they wasn't listening.
The clinic was actually really awesome. It was my first time doing anything like that. For them to get to see a little bit of what we do every single day, to just see the feedback they got in that, they just get to know you as a person a little bit better, and you get to form connections with them as well.
I had a lot of them come up to us after and say, like, wow, you guys really work. Thank you so much for pushing me, and it wasn't even half of what we do.
Well, I think it's really big going back to role models. I feel like our players have to be that.
I think really life is all about like what you give to others, and Coach Abe is a coach that really understands that concept, and she embraces that concept. So she's all about getting into the community, giving back to other people, and since I have like-minded views, you know, it's heartwarming to me to play under a coach that's willing to, you know, get out in the community.
I think kids today need good, strong, positive role models, and especially academically too. I mean, our student athletes are great students right now, and you know, going into the elementary schools and the middle schools, you know, I really want our players to give back all the time, because they were once there. Obviously, I want them to come back to our games and support and scream, but I'm really big on the role model part. Mission in Sight is our theme for this year, and currently looking at our student athletes right now, we wanted them to have a vision of what's ahead of them.
The underlying theme is, you know, let's get better every day. Let's do something every single day to get better. If that's getting better as a player, if that's getting better as a person.
You're not just playing for one game. You're not playing for 2 games. You're playing for something bigger.
The mission is for you to be a successful member of society that is making a difference.
So once you graduate and you take all these different things that she's instilled in us to the next level, you're just going to be successful all around.
I want them to have a vision of where they're going and what their plan is, and stop living so much in the now, because these 4 years go by so fast. And so it's mission in sight for basketball, but it's also mission in sight for life.
Number one, I wanted to make sure that they understood as a coach, I'm going to push them, try and max them out, and at the same time, I want them to enjoy their college experience. They were excited. They thought it was different. I told them I wanted them to have fun. I wanted them to play with excitement, play with confidence, be the type of team that if I was a young kid aspiring to play women's basketball, I would be attracted to that model that they were seeing on the floor or around campus or around the city of Dallas, for that matter.
There was a lot of things, but it was just he wanted to change the culture and details. He is a stickler for details, every little thing. That's what wins games. Like we're not going to cut corners, we're not going to skip over things, and I think we've started to buy in now as a team, and it's looking really cool.
Like Alicia said, there was a lot of things being said, but I think initially the first thing that he brought in was excitement, something new, a new energy, which we needed that. We needed a change, but also focusing on details, details, details. You'll hear him say that 1,000 times through the practice, just focusing on the little things, and he'll say again, like the process to success, you can't skip anything, you know, you can't cheat the process, and I think that's something that he lives and dies by.
You know, when you instill confidence in a player, I think that player becomes aggressive. They play with confidence, so they're always in attack mode, whether it's on the defensive end or the offensive end. But the combination is that you have to see where the strengths of that particular team and those particular individuals are, and you have to cater towards them. If not, they will lose their confidence when they don't get success. Man, competitive, play the game the way it should be played, incredible young ladies, love one another, and love their coach.
SMU Mustangs coming off a win 4 days ago here in Texas. They welcome the Knights of UCF, who are pursuing just their second ever win in Dallas. Two teams in the American with two of the newest coaches in the league. Tip off when we come back on the American Digital Network. We welcome you on this Saturday afternoon to Dallas, Texas, as the Mustangs of SMU welcome to town the Knights of UCF. Hi, everyone. Welcome here on the American Digital Network inside Moody Coliseum. Lincoln Rose along with Coach Angela Beck. And, well, when you talk about SMU and UCF coming into this year, the talk was about first-year head coaches trying to leave their mark already here in the first year in conference play.
Well, that's right, Lincoln, and they're doing it from the ground up with defense, rebounding, steals, block shots, all the little things that make them good.
Well, ultimately, when we look at these two teams squaring off, I know certain things stand out in your mind. First off, for the Knights, your keys to the game.
Well, the keys for the Knights are to limit them to 60 points or less, block out as much as they can, because obviously these are great rebounding teams, and then they need to press because SMU has a hard time handling the press, and UCF, they hang everything on it.
Well, we were here to see the Mustangs win over Memphis the other night. They're trying to keep that momentum rolling. What stands out to you?
Well, when they pounded the paint. I mean, every time they went inside, good things happened. They need to handle the press, though, today. They do have trouble doing that. And then they also need to handle this 3-2 zone they're going to see tonight.
Well, with regards to players to keep an eye on, a couple certainly stand out. First off, for the Knights, averaging a little better than 13 points a ball game, it's Aaliyah Gregory.
Aaliyah Gregory, she's more than a basketball player. She's a philanthropist. We'll talk more about that later, but she knows how to go inside out. She really hangs her hat, though, on her defensive efforts. She's a great defensive player for them, and she's had more starts than anyone on the team.
And meanwhile, for the Mustangs, it's a young lady who could start for just about anybody in this conference. She's averaging a double-double night in, night out, already 14 double-doubles on the year for the junior Alicia Froelich.
Well, she does it all. She gets doubled and triple teamed. She's going to have to find other ways to get people involved, because I think they're going to come after her today.
Last time these two teams met, it went to overtime in the conference tournament up in Connecticut. Mustangs and Knights meeting for the first of two occasions here in the regular season, as we'll have tip-off when we return on ADN.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yes, there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
If the limb comes off...
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
First of two meetings here in the regular season play between the Mustangs and the Knights. They'll meet again in 7 days, or pardon me, in 3 weeks over in Orlando. The Mustangs and Knights colliding on this Saturday afternoon. Lincoln Rose, Angela back with you. Let's take a look at your starting lineups. First up for the visitors out of Orlando, and well, we talked about Aaliyah Gregory. Kieran Lewis has been in and out of the starting lineup, but 6 3-pointers the other night has her back in the starting 5.
Well, she's the leading three-point shooter in the history of their program, so she will rock and fire here tonight.
For the Mustangs, of course, we know what you're going to get out of Alicia Froling, but Morgan Bolton was the pleasant surprise when she wasn't battling foul issues the other night against Memphis. She was 5 of 6 from beyond the arc.
Well, it's funny because neither of these teams are really great three-point shooting teams. In fact, they rank in the bottom, they're 9th and 11th respectively in the American Conference in three-point shooting. So I don't expect to see a lot of threes fired tonight, although you will see a stingy 3-2 defense by UCF here, and SMU will have to solve that puzzle.
SMU has only once lost to UCF here in Dallas. These teams have been playing one another in conference play since back in 2006, dating back to Conference USA, and of course now in the American for a 4th straight year. As the opening tip won by the visitors of UCF. As the dribble pounded out by KK Wright. Didn't have to go far to find her. She is from Orlando, out of Jones High School. Driving. And they go right at Collins, who is a little too deep in the post, and the first 2 points belong to the Knights.
That was a nice dribble drive effort there by Lewis, their leader.
Zakira Lewis averaging 15.5 points per contest, off to a good start. Here's Morgan Bolton. And quick active hands defensively, and that is the noticeable difference this year. Katie Abrahamson-Henderson in her first year at the helm of the Knights. She knows if nothing else, her players can apply pressure to the ball handler.
Well, it's a non-negotiable for her. It's something she expects, and that's how she decides who's going to play in that starting lineup. I asked her what philosophy she picked up from different coaches, and this 3-2 defense she picked up a long time ago. Not from Iowa State, surprisingly, but she ran it in Maine.
Well, Morgan Bolton has already missed as many threes as she did on Tuesday against Memphis in the win. Gregory from 15 gets the bank shot to go.
I saw a little smile on Gregory's face once she shot that, because I'm pretty sure she did not call the bank.
She had 22 points against the Mustangs last year in Connecticut in that first-round conference matchup in the tournament. SMU would ultimately prevail in overtime. Gregory with the offensive second-chance points for the Knights.
One thing to focus on here is that both of these coaches are brand new in the league. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this matchup. They both have inherited players that they didn't recruit, so they're trying to figure out what styles to run. And UCF, Katie figured out, hey, I can press with these guys, and you'll notice they lead the league in turnover steals and forcing turnovers on the other team, and they will heckle these guys all night.
Freshman KK Wright is going to be whistled for the first foul with a hand check in the backcourt. Rolling from the right elbow, in for a closer look, goes right at the defender, and doing her best to hold her ground was Jocelyn Massey out of Detroit. Oh, great hesitation and then full speed to the rim, but KK just couldn't finish.
Well, excellent stutter step finish to the rim, but obviously didn't finish, but great move by her.
Her first, team's second.
SMU in an early 6-0 hole. SMU no stranger to playing in games with streaky performances, games of runs back and forth. Off to a slow start here at home.
Well, that's what I'm worried about right there. That's the second turnover for SMU. Not handling this press. You can't dribble against this press. You have to pass.
Adams in her second year out to Perry. Perry, offensive rebound, goes to the glass, and now she'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2. Kiera Perry is one of these local products. SMU does not have to go far to find great talent, not just here in Texas, but here in the Dallas area. Perry from the powerhouse Duncanville High School, a regular in the state championships in March.
Yeah, I consider Perry a scorer, not a shooter. And that time she missed and went and followed up and did what she needs to do, and that is motor for this team.
A little better than 60% from the free throw line this year, averaging about 27 minutes of contest. And Mustangs are on the board with their first 2 points from the line.
For SMU, number 20, Deja Thomas.
And there is Coach Abe, well-traveled, has been a part of 3 different Division I teams making it to the NCAA tournament, trying to get the Knights back for the first time since 2011.
She says it's a mission in sight for this team, a mission in sight. It changes all the time. I said, how happy are you now? And she said, I'm happy. But I also know her from a long time ago, and no coach is happy if they lose. So I'm sure she's happy that they've won as many games as they have last season, but she wants more.
This senior class has already won more games this year than they did in any of their preceding 3 seasons with UCF. She is still hungry with this group. I want to note this afternoon's contest is part of National Girls and Women in Sports Day celebration, and so I know we're very pleased to have these 2 head coaches, including Travis Mays, at the helm. His first year as a head coach after learning under names like Jody Conrad, Van Chancellor, more recently with Karen Aston's group at Texas to turn his alma mater around. He used to play for the men's squad, of course, for Tom Pender as part of that BMW group. But getting back to Coach Abe, and her number 1 goal right before winning is empowering.
Empowering women, that's what she wants to do. And I was choked up at her practice today. I don't get choked up very easily, but every single kid met me with a handshake and a look in the eye, every single coach. It just was an amazing practice, very, very respectful. I could tell her kids were empowered. They weren't scared to meet me. She goes, I want them to get a job. I want them to get that next job. She has these kids going into the grade schools, doing push-ups and sit-ups to show, hey, it's okay to be a girl and be strong. And so I like what she's doing. I like what she stands for. We're very blessed to have these 2 in our conference because they're not new. They're not green. This isn't their first deal. They've been around for a long time.
3 members of her staff are former players throughout her career. So great knowledge of the system that she wants to run and have in place. Great ambassadors to help spread her message. And then, of course, you have the 8-time WNBA All-Star, the former UConn Husky, and Sales on her staff as well.
Yeah, an interesting story how she found her. She was just in a gym doing a workout with a kid and saw her and said, isn't that Nikisha Sales? And she's like, yeah. And she said, would you want to consider coaching? She'd never coached before, and that's how she got her on her staff. So good for her.
Gregory now with 4 points, the most recent 2 to stretch it to a 7-point lead for the Knights. Perry asks for it on the far wing.
SMU needs to just settle down. They've got to get ball movement, less dribble, more passing. Their number 1 thing UCF wants to do is stop the ball. So if you can move the ball, it's hard for them to stop it.
UCF is flocking to that ball so effectively, it's as if they have 6 or 7 players on the court.
Well, they're in Frawling's head right now, and that's a good place to be because she's extremely frustrated with what they're doing. They are bodying her a bit, but they keep the hands away.
Oh, great start for Gregory here today. 6 points early on in this opening quarter.
Well, players take note that Gregory is a mid-range shooter. She's a good pull-up shooter, and she doesn't take bad shots, and that's why she has, good percentages.
I don't think the shot clock ever got started as the scores table tries to stop play and asks the officials to come over.
Well, I think that Coach Travis is a little bit surprised here. And I think, he's probably saying, what's going on here? We need to settle down, spread the floor, hit the open man. And it's hard when you play an aggressive defensive team. This is a team that has won 6 on the road already. Last year they only won 1 or 2 on the road, and now they've already run 6, so they're not scared to win on the road.
Well, these two teams right there in the thick of things in a conference that has a lot of parity outside of the top handful of teams, including a couple of nationally ranked squads in UConn and USF. But SMU did themselves a favor with that win over Memphis here at home on Tuesday to thrust themselves up into the pack. And obviously today, UCF or SMU will pick up that 4th victory to continue to climb in the conference standings. I want to note that Coach Abe's, her welcome to this conference, their very first game in conference play was against Gino Ariema's Huskies. But she said it was okay. I had met them before with my other squads. Obviously success at some earlier stops for the former Iowa Hawkeye standout.
She was thrilled. She kept it under 40. So, I mean, everyone else, it's tough. No one's beating them, obviously, but they're not even getting it close. So she was happy with it, and she said, I have to win the little battles. I can't win the big battles. And I think it's exciting for her. She is a program builder. She's built, 4 or 5 programs to NCAA level. And it's exciting because you get to change the whole attitude. And I think she enjoys that part of the process. You talked to her on the phone, and she talked about Florida and being with the palm trees. I mean, that's the attitude. Yeah. She goes, I wanted to get some warm, and it's tough to get a job where it's warm. So she was, thrilled.
It was 9:30 in the morning Eastern time, and on the phone, the moment she says hello, it was the most energized person I've ever heard in the morning, and she immediately started off by saying, I'm looking at palm trees, I'm looking at the beach. This is where I want to be. Every day you wake up enthusiastic about the day ahead of you.
Well, she credits her athletic director for getting her there because he thinks about family. I asked her, I said, in all the years you've been coaching, what has changed about you as a person? And she said, my children. And Savannah and Brooklyn are her 2 girls that she has, and one of them is here, and hopefully we can show her later. But she said those 2 girls that, have changed her because she's had to refocus what she's doing. She has another couple coaches that have kids on her staff, so they kind of carpool the kids and try to, figure out how they're going to take care of everybody.
Well, again, right now it is still simply trying to straighten out, I believe, some clock issues, and this has to benefit SMU a tad to stop this ball game and try to reset. We take a look at what is still to come here on the American Digital Network. We actually have 2 broadcasts underway today, but moving forward, trips up to Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, back over to Orlando, and over in New Orleans, as we'll get to see the Knights a few more times here this month, as we get to continue to see the program progress through conference play.
Well, the Knights are only allowing 55.4 points per game, and that is the fewest since the early 2000s, but I actually think it might be the fewest in the history, but they don't have any electronic records before that. And so that tells you a little bit about what she's just done in 1 year to bring this defensive mindset. And then her scoring margin, the 8-point scoring margin that they currently have, is the largest that they've had. So that's pretty amazing.
All their old records, of course, are those dangling chads, I believe, on. As right now they're explaining the clock issue. There's going to be 6 minutes, I believe, in fresh shot clock. But Travis Mays, that's a free timeout for his club to try to get things regrouped. The team that has yet to score a field goal here. Only a couple of free throws early on, trailing by 9. Yeah, you mentioned this, but Danny White, the athletic director now at UCF, Coach Abe really praised, look, I get to show up at work. I'm surrounded by a great AD. And then, of course, you have Coach Frost with football, Coach Dawkins with the men's basketball team. But Danny White, great lineage. His dad at Duke, brother at Florida, another brother at Missouri, an athletics family that really knows how to get the job done.
So it's a scrappy 3-2 defense that she hangs her hat on and doesn't get out of in the entire game. So they know how to shift. They know how to move. What SMU needs to do is to attack the baseline of this defense. The strength of it is where they're attacking right now at the top of the key, and they need to get the ball to the baseline.
Still no field goals here in this opening half for SMU. And Travis Mays is about to rotate in 4 players, including the return of Stephanie Collins in the post. Right now, Deja Thomas among the players off the bench in the ball game for the Mustangs. And UCF almost gives it away. They do.
Good defensive stop by SMU, a much needed one.
So Alicia Froling will be the only Mustang to stay on the floor with that substitution pattern that brings back in a fellow Australian and Stephanie Collins. Probably the longest we've gone without mentioning Australians in an SMU women's basketball game. Got an official timeout, 4:59 to go here in the opening half. This UCF defense right now giving them a chance to pick up a valuable road win in Dallas, Texas tonight. Right now up 11-2 over the home squad Mustangs.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
If the limb comes off
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
Back in Dallas on this Saturday afternoon with the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose, Coach Angela Beck with you, and the Knights off to an ideal start against those Mustangs, as the Knights defense has, for the most part, been able to prevent Alicia Froling from catching the basketball in an area where she's comfortable.
They've done a good job. They have it really strong at that high post area. They have obviously three up there. Anytime she touches it, she's getting doubled up. So that's why I really like to see them tilt it down to the baseline and then counter it and then attack it to the other weak side, and they would be able to attack them pretty well because this is not a very tall team. So that if they get a couple ball reverses on them, I think they could find a seam there down on the low block.
SMU 0 for 5 shooting so far this afternoon. UCF 5 of 11. Only 2 points so far for the Mustangs are a couple of free throws from Kiera Perry.
And 4 turnovers. So, you know, these guys lead the American in steals, and all of a sudden, you know, SMU's got 4 turnovers. This is not what obviously they wanted to do to start it. So better ball movement, handling the pressure, and then getting defensive stops like they did just after the timeout.
So again, that's 1 fewer turnover than shots attempted so far by the Mustangs here at home. Something they'll try to rectify early on as the Knights bring the ball up the floor with a 9-point lead.
Well, Mickens, Owens, and Reese are now in the game, and with those three, he's obviously looking for, you know, his defense to step up.
A little stop and pop is off the mark for Lewis, who again had those 6 3-pointers, but she shot 15 of them in Memphis. These two teams have a common opponent most recently. UCF played Memphis last Saturday, whereas SMU played them on Tuesday. Both teams have had plenty of downtime since, but UCF slightly more rest, though they had to travel.
Yeah, and SMU beat them, and UCF lost to them. So I'm sure that, you know, that gave, you know, SMU a little more confidence. But you can't think about that. You just have to come in and play. And I watched how UCF prepared, and I know that they're just very intense, and they don't care how many points they score. They just want to stop the other team.
Reese with the dribble right now. Owens tries to get it into Collins, and that's just forcing it in with 2 defenders in the area.
Yeah, that's as low as they've gotten it, though. Watch how much they're up here on the perimeter, and they just need to have a baseline cutter come and really start attacking it.
And an offensive foul as they're trying to deny Froling a chance to get to the basketball.
Coach Abe's pleading her case over there, but it's pretty physical on UCF's side. They really are bodying you up, but they're not, that's the way it's being called, so good for them for being very physical.
I think I said offensive foul. Obviously, on the defense, Nyala Schuler, who was getting tangled up with Froling, and that's going to put Froling at the line. That's the 5th foul already this quarter, and Froling misses the front ends. Better than 70% free throw shooter. Spent the past 2 years with her twin sister Keely as a teammate here with the Mustangs. Her brother Harry played last semester for the men's squad as a freshman before transferring. But Tuesday was the Froling twins' birthday, and you have to imagine that was the first time they were not together on their birthday.
Well, I'm sure they called each other a couple different times.
Possession to SMU.
So 3 free throws, the total points for SMU through the opening almost 6 minutes, or pardon me, 6 minutes here.
Well, Mickens has had trouble against the press in the past, and there she goes, double team, got her, and she put it behind her back, and they stole it.
Polacek with the assist, up ahead to Lewis for 2. And again, that defense leading to offense. Talk about Zykira Lewis. What a talent in terms of score. She just became the 5th player earlier this year in UCF history to exceed 1,500 points in a career.
Reese got shook up on that play.
Well, you're about to see a 6'5" Mustang replaced by a 6'6" Mustang as Bradshaw makes her debut here on the day out of Emory, Texas. Transferred from TCU, sat out last year, now a junior.
Well, I like what Coach is doing. He's like, hey, we're not making it happen with Froling in there. Let me put her on the bench and see if maybe they'll shift their defense and not do what they've been doing to us.
We see starters like Adams and Bolton return, along with Kiera Perry. All the points for SMU so far from right there at the free throw line. They'll be shooting free throws on every defensive and loose ball foul for the rest of this opening quarter.
I think the key for SMU is to, I've said it before, but pass and not dribble. And they keep dribbling up the court. And these guys are the type, if a defender, if the ball gets past you, you poke it from behind. That's what they do. That's how they teach it. And so once you run, they're going to run you down. So you can't just dribble past them because they're going to get it from you.
Polacek as they're working inside. A little baseline jumper, good. A nice stroke from Fifi Indoor.
Well, Fifi Indoor did the right thing. She's got 6'6" bodying her up on the backside. She takes a step back move, and it's pure net.
And then Indoor with a silly foul on the baseline. The junior out of Senegal moved to the United States back in 2012 and speaks a mere 3 languages.
Well, I liked what I saw that time from Bolton. Here's Bolton just going in and attacking it, and it wasn't very pretty, but at least she's, causing some contact.
Still no field goals for SMU. Back within single digits. Lewis, the 2-time state champion back in Florida, and has not been able to find her range today. And Bolton with the rebound. Mustangs looking to run. But there you have it, never giving up on the basketball. It's last touch, they say, by UCF.
Well, it's surprising that UCF is small, but they are the #1 offensive rebounding team in the league.
Back to live play, Adams from beyond the three-point line. SMU is still looking for its first field goal of the ball game. All 6 points from the free throw line. And they are pestering Adams. One to shoot, and Morgan Bolton, a little sigh of relief out of the crowd here inside Moody Coliseum. Just like that, it's a 6-point ball game.
Well, she did it last time the same way. Just, they were a little skeltered, and she came in and just stroked one from deep.
Took almost 8 minutes for UCF to give up a field goal, and even there, it was from beyond the arc.
Thomas Nieder that time on the drive. Yep, they're on the outside now. She just stays off her and she pulls the trigger. Nice follow through, good extension on the shot.
Ball out of her hand with a second on that shot clock. So UCF, who had a double-digit advantage right now, leading by just 2 scores. Polacek with the dribble. Fires it in. Great pass. And it's swatted by Deja Thomas. Physical battle in the post, away from the basketball.
Bradshaw wants it inside. They aren't seeing her, but she wants it. Now she's going to get the offensive call.
Yeah. Well, that could have gone either way for several moments there, and in the end, the thought was enough's enough, and they go with the call against the offensive player, Bradshaw.
Well, make no mistake about it, Coach Abe plays that East Coast style of basketball because that's where she's been, right? And she's brought that to UCF. These guys are playing tough. I'm extremely impressed with their defense. They don't foul you. They just stay down and they work hard. And they're putting a clinic on defense here. Yeah,
her last stop was an extended one at Albany, one of the 3 schools, again, that she's helped guide to the NCAA tournament. And the 3-point stroke from Lewis. Mentioned she had 6 of them against Memphis.
They don't take a lot of them, but when they do, they're pretty effective.
She was 0 for her first 2 before that one.
Ball reversal. That's what they need. Get ball reversal.
Adams had some breathing room. Still 7 to shoot. Shot clock not a factor, and SMU, if they choose, can hold for the final shot here in this first quarter.
Great board by Perry there.
Bolton has the only field goal today for SMU. And a turnover late, and it means the Knights can perhaps heave up the final shot. And it just won't go for Zykira Lewis. 18-9, the Knights on the road today. Able to limit that Mustangs offense and overcome a size disadvantage here on the road. 1 quarter down, 3 to go here in Dallas, Texas on the American Digital Network.
The American Athletic Conference Championship is right around the corner, taking place March 9th through the 12th at the Excel Center in Hartford, Connecticut, as all 11 American teams will compete for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Tickets are priced as low as $199. Get yours today online by visiting www.excelcenter.com, in person at the Excel Center box office, or by telephone at 877-522-8499. We look forward to seeing you in March.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yes, there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
UCF on the road today holds SMU to just one Morgan Bolton three-pointer in that first half. Otherwise, or pardon me, that first quarter. Otherwise, it's all free throws for SMU, keeping them in this ball game. And we are seeing that UCF Knights defense be a factor early on.
Well, it's been very impressive to watch them work. They limit their fouls. They live and die off ball pressure. Everything is about ball pressure. The reason why SMU can't find the open man is because they're smothered in ball pressure. And so they have open players, but they can't see them. So hats off to UCF.
SMU officially shot 14% in that first half, 1 of 7. Not just that, but UCF shot 22 shots in that opening quarter, 8 of 22. And everything right now favoring the Knights the way that first quarter went.
Well, the more shots you take, it talks about your defense, talks about your rebounding, and they've out-rebounded them, they've outplayed them, and they have 7 boards, and they are the #1 offensive rebounding team in the American, so they're proving it tonight.
Yes, 7 of the 11 rebounds for UCF in that quarter on the offensive glass.
They're undersized, but they're highly athletic, they're in great shape, and they have a great focus about them.
SMU turns the ball over, an offensive 3-second call on, again, Stephanie Collins for SMU. Camry Mickens among the new additions on the court right now for the Mustangs, along with Amaura Brandt. Not often used. Her dad is actually an assistant coach now for the Mustangs, a former head coach in Division II.
I like this defense by SMU. It's a 3-2 defense. It's allowing Froling and Collins to be inside to get the boards. But I think the guards need to stay in a little tighter. They don't need to be chasing people that aren't three-point shooters.
Travis Mays giving people opportunities to be a difference maker here in this ball game. And McKenzie Adams with her first stroke.
That's the first transition bucket for SMU all game.
Let's see if they can continue to find ways to make stops. Little touch pass inside. And slipped up. Ultimately a turnover out of the hand of Tolu Omakore.
Tolu was a role player last year, and she has started every game for them this year because of her focus, her hard work ethic, her motor. Coach just really likes how hard she plays.
Yeah, just a handful of starts last year. She is the only Knight to start every contest, all 22 so far this season. Adams trying to go back to back.
Well, she pulled the trigger right there in the heart of that defense, which is right there at the top of the key, but they didn't have their hand up, so good stroke by Adams.
SMU almost has as many points as they did in that opening quarter. Step inside the arc. And rebound down to Brandt. Again, her dad, Mike, one of the top assistants for Travis Mays this year. One of 3 former head coaches on Travis Mays' staff. Nice touch pass. They're going to get Froling over the back. And for Alicia, that's her first personal. And free throws coming up for UCF.
Both teams trying to push it in transition. I think out of the timeout, SMU has decided to try to get down before they get their defense set, which isn't a bad plan, but you have to really crash the boards. And then UCF with a rebound came back and tried to push it in transition against them. So lots of up and down action here.
Naila Schuler, one of 2 Orlando, Florida natives on this roster. She was a 3-time state champion over there in the Sunshine State at Edgewater High School. Now a sophomore for the Knights. And rebound to Brandt. For Amaura Brandt, just her 16th game on the year, averaging about 5.5 minutes. I expect she'll surpass that here in this first half alone.
Just looking at UCF's defense, look at all their hands extended, all of them, moving their feet, making them make a really tough shot, which that was, but it was a tough shot.
McKenzie Adams again started her career at Arkansas, but she's from right here in the Dallas area, up north in Frisco, Texas. Will stop and pop. 3-pointer won't go for Lewis. An offensive rebound, but losing it out of bounds along the baseline. McKenzie Adams has come on strong here in the second quarter and has helped pull SMU back within 2. So they'll double down on Mickens. Adams had a tad bit of breathing room. Brandt is wide open, but Collins at that position, she's going to be tied up.
It's kind of like the Aussies are getting a little bit of what they do over there in Australia. These guys are all over them, and it's not as fun to have it on both sides, but it's just aggressive, and they're really putting out the effort.
Travis Mays was getting an explanation there for a moment. A couple of great additions to the coaching ranks in the American here this year. Both Travis Mays as well as Katie Abrahamson-Henderson in their first year with these programs.
Well, these are 2 well-coached teams. They're fundamentally sound. They're in great condition. The Americans should be extremely proud to have coaches of this quality and caliber in our conference.
Adams has been the difference maker here. Brandt looking for a 3, got it. Her 6th triple on the year. She was the leading 3-point shooter in Division II before transferring with her father over to Dallas. And just like that, the Mustangs have a lead here in the opening half.
I was calling Coach Mays the magician, and I think he's done a pretty good job of pulling some things out of his hat like that. Bam, right from 3-point range.
She played at USC Aiken over in South Carolina, then Limestone College. Amaura Brandt was better than a 50% 3-point shooter before transferring, hit 89 3-pointers. And again, she's been just a rarely used reserve this year for SMU, but comes through, able to push them over the top. It's a 1-point lead for the Mustangs, 19-18.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
The American Athletic Conference Championship is right around the corner, taking place March 9th through the 12th at the Excel Center in Hartford, Connecticut, as all 11 American teams will compete for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Tickets are priced as low as $199. Get yours today online by visiting www.excelcenter.com, in person at the Excel Center box office, or by telephone at 877-522-8499. We look forward to seeing you in March.
SMU has come back here in the second quarter, now a 19-18 lead. McKenzie Adams only took one shot in the opening quarter. She's 3 for 3, including a big 3 here in the second quarter.
Well, she's their leading three-point shooter. She's been guarded, tripled to up, doubled up most times that she comes out. But here she finds a little two-pointer. But she anytime she can get open, she's going to stroke it. Here she is, breaking them down with her dribble and pulling up in the lane for a tough shot, but she gets the shooter's roll.
SMU was 1 of 7 in the opening quarter. They are already 4 of 6 here in quarter number 2, not quite midway through.
Well, it's a counter fight here. You know, both teams are throwing a few punches and bringing people off the bench that you don't necessarily expect. If you said you thought Froling would have 1 point by this point and they would be right in the game, you'd be surprised.
And SMU's defense has gotten better now that they've found a rhythm on offense. Engel just off the mark. Collins with the rebound. And they're going to get a reach-in foul, but Collins was almost guilty of negating her own height advantage by bringing that ball down to her waist.
Well, exactly. That's a good point, Lincoln, because she pretty much neutralized her size by that. I think the key is when SMU went to the 3-2 defense, they were able to then shut down any second shots. They had 7 offensive rebounds in the beginning, and now they've been shutting down their opportunities to get second opportunities.
So Amaura Brandt, who is one of just 2 scorers so far this quarter for SMU, along with Adams, each has hit a 3-pointer. And as talented as Keely Froling's ankle probably is, probably a better basketball player in of its own right than I ever was, but probably need that pass a little bit higher.
Well, yeah, there wasn't the angle for that pass. Mickens got going and really had no place to put it.
15 to shoot, 5.5 to play till halftime. Stick around. Going in the locker room, Angela will have a chance to catch up with one of our head coaches. We'll have a chance to hear from them both before starting the second half. Cameron Mickens with the dribble. Fans start to counter down. 5 to shoot, and that one climbs over the rim but doesn't drop, and a foul on Froling will be her second.
Well, that's not a great possession there, just to dribble around and then get a shot. I mean, you got to make some passes. You got to tilt and counter and then attack a zone, because you'll be one and done.
Memphis did a good job against Froling early, but to get 4 quarters of shutdown defense against Alicia is challenging. Right now, Alicia, again, only 1 point to her name, a free throw.
Well, it's hard for her to score if she doesn't get any touches, okay? And they're not finding her. She's open in the middle of that zone. Obviously, they're taking her out now, because if they're going to shoot that, why have her in there? And they also don't want to get her in foul trouble.
Yeah, with 2 fouls, and rebounding has not been a factor either. And another giveaway. 2-on-1. And a little too unselfish, but Amaura Brandt was standing on the baseline when she intercepted that ball.
Well, great hustle by her. I think she's, getting used to the speed of the game at this level. When she first came in, it was a little different. You can stand around and shoot, at the D2 level, but not at the D1 level. And I think she's starting to pick up her speed a little bit and figuring out how to play it.
Lewis is now 1 of 6 from beyond the arc for UCF. And SMU quickly one and done. And that's back over to SMU. No, they're going to say last touch by SMU. It stays with the Knights.
like the substitution here. McKenzie has a habit of, I like her energy. She really wants to go and make something happen, but it's hard to break a defense down without making a pass. And 2 or 3 times she's gone past that free throw line, and they've been one and done.
Lob it in to Lewis. The senior averaging 15.5 points per ball game, and a travel call on the veteran.
Well, looking at Coach A, but that's one thing she doesn't really accept is these unforced turnovers.
Remember, Amaura Brandt hit that 3 to give SMU a 1-point lead, and neither team has scored since then for the past couple of minutes now. In stride, you got to take a dribble.
Yeah, both teams kind of a little sloppy here. Adams pass to Collins inside is a good thought, but it was an overhead pass that had to come down sometime here. I like them tilting back and forth, but they need to get a middle in here. Something in the middle to break the pressure.
Brandt made the last shot 2.5 minutes ago, and she's on a little 6-0 run to give the Mustangs their largest lead. SMU trailed by as many as 11. Right now, a 15-point turnaround here in the second quarter. Collins just takes it away. And a foul will keep it here.
Well, SMU got bailed out by the official that time. That was not a good take by Adams. She had 4 black jerseys right down there. Nothing going if she missed that shot. So they need to settle down and execute.
The last 13 points for SMU have all come from Amaura Brandt as well as Adams.
What did I say in the pregame? It wasn't going to be a 3-point shooting game, right? How do they always prove me wrong?
This is after we saw Bolton hit 5 of 6 against Memphis. Zakira Lewis also had 6 of 15 against Memphis in their last 2 outings. Collins backed her way in, and she's going to go to the free throw line. The whistle, a tough whistle on Nyla Schuler, the third-year sophomore. It's just hard to match up with Collins when she catches the ball that low.
So they're 9th and 11th in the American in 3 points made in a game, and that's what we have here is 3-point shooting.
I'd like to see their numbers when they're on the American Digital Network, though.
That's true. Everybody does better when they're on the American Digital. Only when you and I are calling.
Right.
A lot of free throws for SMU.
Collins 1 for 2. We've overlooked this. UCF has not scored a single point now here in the second quarter. It was 18-9 in the opening frame, and that's still a valid note.
And it's the 3-2 zone. Note that. It's shaking them up.
They held SMU to 1 field goal in the first quarter. Amaura Brandt is unconscious here today.
Well, what's Coach doing hiding her? Why has he been hiding her?
The secret weapon. I'm sure he was hoping to keep her for the conference tournament.
Well, I'm sure UCF is going, what the heck? Who is this?
She was the nation's best 3-point shooter in Division II.
That's got to mess up your game plan a little bit.
She's made her last 3 for the Mustangs, and she is single-handedly on a 9-0 run, giving the Mustangs their lead right now. An offensive foul by Perry. Amaura Brandt, this quarter alone, has as many points as SMU did in the first frame.
Is it safe to say Amaura Brandt has her career high?
As a Mustang.
As a Mustang.
Here in Division I, yes. She was averaging 1 point a contest through her first 15 games.
Six minutes, 1.4 points. Well, I don't know. You know, you think with her dad on the bench, Coach would have thought about putting her in there earlier.
Well, all of a sudden, Gino, who has the Mustangs next, I'm sure they're just shredding their scouting report right now.
I'm sure he is. If I know Gino, he's shredding a scouting report. No, the funny thing about him is everyone that's ever scouted for him says he never overcomplicates anything. But why would you when you have the best talent in America? And probably a pretty good coach too, right?
That would potentially put UConn, by the way, at 99 wins. Their matchup against South Carolina outside of conference would be an unheard of 100 straight wins. Good feed, and Collins not ready for the quick pass from Devery Owens.
Well, the pass to Collins has to be kind of at her shoulders. It can't be like at her thigh. And so at 6'5", you need those balls up.
UCF again now has 1 point here this quarter.
Well, they don't have anyone that's really ready to shoot the three here, and they're not allowing them too much room inside.
Offensive foul.
Well, that's a great take there. Good positioning by Bolton, moving side to side and getting that charge.
Again, UCF had 8 field goals. They shot 8 of 22 in the first quarter, and Adams walked.
Back to the too much dribbling. To beat a great physical, aggressive, athletic team, you must pass the ball.
Travis Mays is about to bring Amaura Brandt back into the ball game.
Can't keep her on the bench.
No.
She's like, what? You want me back in, coach?
And a foul on Adams, who went up to block the shot, but they're going to call her on the body. The slightly partial crowd here in Moody Coliseum disagrees with the call.
Coach Travis does too. But I thought it was a good take. Being aggressive, going to the hole, trying to make something happen right now.
Lewis is 70% free throw shooter. Still just 1 point this quarter for the Knights. It was again 18-9.
Like I said, it's a prize fight. Early on, you know, I think SMU was stunned. And then they just picked it apart. Coach wasn't scared to take 4 people and put them on the bench. And then he kept bringing in different people, and he brought in Brandt, who doesn't hardly play at all, and he found his solution.
$11 to shoot. Reese open from the wing. Got it. She becomes the most recent Mustang to join the three-point parade here in the second quarter. Her first 3 points of the afternoon, and it's a 10-point lead for SMU, a 21-point turnaround here in the opening half. Mid-range baseline. This ball will stay on this end of the floor. And as much as we were in awe with the fact that SMU only had 1 field goal in the opening quarter, UCF has yet to match that. Schuler is 10 of 23 coming into today from the free throw line. And that's the second point now here in quarter number 2. And back within 8 are the Knights. Oh, a little hesitation, just can't finish. The putback goes for Bradshaw. So just like that, SMU negates the 2 free throws on the other end with the size advantage of Bradshaw on the putback. SMU's lead back to double digits. There are 3 seconds remaining here in the opening half. And they're going to put a half a second back on. Gregory brings it up the floor. Gets it off in time. And SMU overcomes an 11-point first half deficit. UCF is held without a field goal in the second quarter, as Travis Mays' Mustangs will take a double-digit lead into the locker room. The first-year Mustang head coach joins our Angela Beck. Let's go ahead and toss it down to Angela and Coach Mays.
Coach, what a first half. Talk about Brandt.
Well, I tell you what, Brandt has saved the entire first half for us. She came in confident. She's the only player on my team right now that's catching, ready to shoot with the pressure. And that's what we needed to do. We need to attack the pressure, but we're not doing that.
That 3-2 defense that you put in the second half, I thought that was all the difference. Talk about that.
Well, what I tried to do is I tried to start in man-to-man to get our juices flowing, because I could see we had a little bit of lack of energy when they came in before we came out in warm-ups. And we needed to change the pace of the game. So once we did that, I think we made them start thinking a little bit, and it gave our team a little bit more confidence.
If I told you Froling would only have 1 point and you would be leading by 10, would you be surprised?
Yes. Absolutely. And I think we'll get it going in the second half. The thing is, Alicia got to work a little bit harder to get the ball in the middle of that press. The pressure is bothering our guards. I think if we can get it in the middle, she can make some plays for us.
Back to you, Lincoln.
All right, thank you again, Angela Beck with Travis Mays. And a roller coaster of emotions for both teams. SMU was held to 1 field goal in the first quarter. UCF had none in quarter number 2. Brandt with 9 points has the Mustangs up by double figures at the half here on the American Digital Network.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yes, there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
Haley Outen here from the American Digital Network studio. Hope everyone is having a great start to their week. Thanks for tuning into The Rise. As we approach the halfway point of conference play on the hardwood, let's get you caught up on the tight race in the league standings. Entering last week at 3-2, Memphis picked up 2 crucial wins to vault into a tie for third. The Tigers outlasted Houston in overtime to start the week, then held off UCF down the stretch to move to 5-2 and 15-5 overall. Starring for the Tigers was the player of the week, KJ Lawson, who posted a career-high 28 points and 16 rebounds at Houston. Also, with 2 home wins last week, SMU extended its winning streak to 17 games at Moody Coliseum. It was Shake Milton who led the way, scoring a career-high 27 points as the Mustangs stayed within a half game of conference-leading Cincinnati. Speaking of the Bearcats, they moved up 1 spot to number 19 in both national polls after taking games against Temple and at Tulane to extend their winning streak to 10, matching the longest winning streak in the American this year. On Thursday, Cincinnati welcomes Xavier to Fifth Third Arena for the Skyline Chili Crosstown Shootout. Should the Bearcats grab the win, they will set a record for consecutive home wins under Mick Cronin with their 20th in a row. On Thursday night and throughout the week, coaching staffs throughout the American will be taking part in Coaches vs. Cancer Suits and Sneakers Week. The program is a nationwide collaboration between the American Cancer Society and the National Association of Basketball Coaches. The initiative leverages the personal experiences, community leadership, and professional excellence of coaches nationwide to increase cancer awareness and promote healthy living through year-round awareness efforts, fundraising activities, and advocacy programs. So be on the lookout for your favorite coaches sporting some different footwear this weekend as they raise awareness in the fight against cancer. And over to the women's side, the historic streak continues as UConn won its 93rd straight game. Reigning American Player of the Week, Katie Lou Samuelson, finished with a game-high 32 points in the win over the Green Wave, which is becoming a regular thing for Katie Lou. Samuelson averaged 33 points over 2 games for the Huskies last week and was named ESPNW's Player of the Week on Monday for her efforts. UConn isn't the only team garnering some national attention, as Temple, who is arguably one of the hottest teams in the country right now, grabbed its 11th win in a row this past week. Junior guard Denasia Fountain led the Owls with 21 points per game as Temple downed Houston on the road on Wednesday and Memphis last Saturday. The week ahead sees the Owls facing off with Penn in midweek action for the Philadelphia Big Five title and hosting number 23 USF on Sunday in a critical conference matchup for both teams on CBS Sports Network. The Owls are 3 spots out of the AP Top 25 and continue to receive votes in both major polls. A team that is garnering a whole lot of attention in the preseason national polls out on the diamond are the East Carolina Pirates. This week, the Purple and Gold were ranked the 6th best team in the country by Baseball America. College baseball opening weekend is less than a month away. And to get the season started, the Pirates will hit the road for a 3-game series at Ole Miss. The start of softball is also just a few weeks away, and this past week, the American announced the preseason coaches poll. Tulsa was selected as the favorite in 2017 after winning its first conference championship last season, claiming the title on its home field, and appearing in its 8th NCAA regional. The Hurricane returned 12 starters from last year's squad. Ticket packages for the American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship are now on sale. Head to Mohegan Sun Arena March 3rd through the 6th to watch all 11 American teams in action, fighting for an automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. Tickets start as low as $99. Get yours today by visiting the Mohegan Sun Arena box office, going online to mohegansun.com or on Ticketmaster, and also available by phone at 1-800-745-3000. Let the games begin. We'll see you in March.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites, dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
The American Athletic Conference Championship is right around the corner, taking place March 9th through the 12th at the Excel Center in Hartford, Connecticut, as all 11 American teams will compete for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Tickets are priced as low as $199. Get yours today online by visiting www.excelcenter.com, in person at the Excel Center box office, or by telephone at 877-522-8499. We look forward to seeing you in March.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites, dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
Ticket packages for the American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship are now on sale. Head to Mohegan Sun Arena March 3rd through the 6th to watch all 11 American teams in action, fighting for an automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. Tickets start as low as $99. Get yours today by visiting the Mohegan Sun Arena box office, going online to mohegansun.com or on Ticketmaster, and also available by phone at 1-800-745-3000. Let the games begin. We'll see you in March.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites, dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
Halftime here in Dallas, and what a turn of events it was, going from the opening quarter to the second quarter of play. The Mustangs trailed 18-9, having only scored on 1 shot from the floor in that opening quarter. They turn back around. They make all 5 of their three-pointers attempted in the second quarter. UCF is held to only 3 free throws in that second period of play. And you look at the overall stats, all of a sudden everything has shifted in favor of the Mustangs, with the exception of a couple of points in the paint. But rebounding, size advantage, all paying off for SMU. Many of those turnovers were taking place in the opening quarter. But Travis Mays with a reason for optimism, and Amaura Brandt a big reason for that turnaround. 3 for 3 from beyond the arc. We mentioned 3 different Mustangs connected from downtown in that quarter number 2 to help make them 5 of 5. Adams would get the scoring started in the second quarter, as she had the first 3 baskets of the second period of play for SMU. That helped them close a gap after trailing by as many as 11 in this contest. UCF would be plagued by some turnovers, would find a little bit of offense from Alea Gregory, as she has 9 points now to lead the way for UCF. But Brandt, with her third of 3 three-pointers in that opening half, has helped pull the Mustangs out ahead by 10, 31-21. Let's take a look at some of the headliners from around the conference coming into this week. Your weekly honors, including our freshman of the week out of Tulsa and Shug Dixon. Dixon repeats as your freshman of the week. She averaged 15.5 points per ball game, 7.5 rebounds, threw in 3 assists per contest. As a great week in total coming into this first week of February for the member of the Golden Hurricane. And your player of the week for Tulane over there in New Orleans, Colby Morgan, the junior, averaged 27.5 points, 10 rebounds for a double-double per contest as they went 2-0 last week to help climb up the standings. And now your weekly honor roll. in the American. And a familiar name in Zykira Lewis tied her season high with those 26 points, including 6 made three-pointers against Memphis last Saturday before this afternoon's contest. And we'll also see the honor roll wrapped up with members from UConn, Memphis, USF, and Temple. Gabby Williams for the Huskies, the junior, averaging 17.5 points, 13 rebounds, a double-double, and almost a triple-double last week with 7.5 assists per contest. Bria Elmore at Memphis, had a chance to see her in Dallas as she has faced both of these teams recently. Laska at USF, just the sophomore, the youngest member of our weekly honor roll this week. And Fitzgerald, a senior at Temple up there in Pennsylvania, averaging 13.5 points, 7.5 assists per ball game. So congratulations to the members of our honor roll here in the American coming into this week. League, when we kick off this next week, we'll announce our new player of the week, freshman of the week, and perhaps someone like Amaura Brandt may wind up landing their way onto their first list of honorees before it's all said and done. 31-21, SMU with a 10-point lead here at the half. As let's toss it down to Angela on the sideline.
Job on defense in that first quarter. What changed in the second?
The fouls. Definitely the fouls. I mean, that really hurt us, and so we had to sub. Having KK out, having Jocelyn out, that kills us. So hopefully we cannot, get in such foul trouble.
You did an amazing job on Proline. What can you do to keep that up?
We got to just focus on her. She's at the high post a lot, which that's where I want her. Honestly, I don't want her on the block, and we're doubling her, so she's moving out. So they made 6 threes. That just killed us. So we got to control that.
So what changes are you going to make on offense to get more points?
Oh my gosh, move the ball a lot quicker. We're just standing around. We got to move the ball. We got to penetrate gaps. They're going to play zone the rest of the half. So we got to get ball movement.
All right, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Angela. Again, there with first-year head coach of UCF, Katie Abrahamson-Henderson, former standout at Iowa. Had an 11-point lead in the first quarter at one point, only to see UCF held without a field goal in the second quarter as SMU outscores them 22-3 in that second period of play. Mustangs used basically the entirety of their bench. We saw 3 Knights come off the bench in that opening half. That SMU's bench outscores UCF 14-4. 9 of those 14 points came from Amaura Brandt. So Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck with you here for the start of the second half, and we'll see how this third quarter unfolds early on.
Well, I don't think you can write up what happened in that second quarter, having SMU go 5 for 5 from three-point, and when you're not expecting it like UCF wasn't, that's pretty crazy. I think her foul trouble, like she talked about, really set them back.
That offensive foul continues what is an 11-minute drought on the clock for UCF to score a field goal.
Well, just a little bit out of control and maybe pressing it a little bit. That's a great stance. She had her feet set. She was outside the arc, and perfect defense by SMU.
As Morgan Bolton takes the charge. Adams finally was able to get the scoring started really for SMU, and they get a travel on Adams, where she had the first 3 field goals before all of a sudden Brandt stole the show.
Well, I like Adams' effort when she gets in a trap, but I don't like her getting in a trap and eating her dribble. She has to keep her dribble alive, keep her head up, get to the trap, but not in the trap, reverse out and attack the other side.
Perry able to quickly clamp down on what was otherwise an open Lewis. Shot clock down to 7, and it'll stay at 6 now for an inbounds play for UCF.
It's kind of amazing to me. You would think UCF would be able to play against a 3-2 defense fairly easily because that's the only one they use.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's ironic that a team that faces and does that every game can't play against it. And I really think this is their Achilles heel so far, is they haven't been able to, really shift it and get the open shot.
Well, still no field goals, but free throws coming up for the Knights. Adams whistled for her first. Free throws will belong to Leah Gregory. This is a young lady, when you talk to Coach Abe, says she bought in 100%, really has become a leader for this group and a go-to player. And her only regret with Gregory is that she doesn't have a full 4 years with her. But she's somebody who's really bought into the strength and conditioning program as well.
Yeah, Coach Abe talks about her daughter, Savannah, that's her favorite player because she is just a hard worker, and I'm sure her mom talks about her work ethic to her, so it's kind of cool to see that that's already her role model.
UCF has the first 2 points of the second half. These are dangerous passes that SMU is giving up.
Well, I like that they're moving towards their pass, but the passes are just a little sloppy. But on the other hand, UCF is getting called for a few fouls here real early in the quarter.
Amaura Brandt with her first touch here in the second half. Collins backs her way in, cannot finish. Froling the offensive rebound, and a couple free throws coming up for Alicia, who's still sitting on just 1 point. You asked Travis Mays before the locker room, if I told you Alicia Froling was only going to have 1 point, I don't think you would expect a double-digit advantage going to the locker room.
No, but I saw a smile on his face, and I think he was, I don't even know if he knew she only had 1, but she only had probably 2 touches the whole quarter, or the whole half. Yeah. But I love it that they're able to get it done in different ways, because in order to be a good team, they're going to have to disperse the scoring a little better than they have in the past.
She was 0 for 2 from the floor, split a couple of free throws in that first half. Now is 2 for 2 from the charity stripe here in the third quarter. And it's back to a double-digit advantage for SMU.
Well, Adams gets put on the bench, and Brandt comes in for Adams after that turnover. So interesting substitution there by Coach.
UCF, who really takes it 1 step at a time, will tell you their next win will be the big one, because it'll match their conference win total of last year of 4, with plenty of time left, and a missed layup from Perry.
Well, that's called a 1-on-2, and it's a tough shot to make, so I would have liked to have seen her pull it back out. I like her aggressiveness, but that could have been a great possession for them.
Both the Knights and the Mustangs with 2 free throws being their only points here in this third quarter so far. A 13-minute drought for UCF.
I think the thing you got to look at with Brandt is she knows the game. I mean, anytime you're a coach's daughter, you've been in the gym since you were born. So that kid probably, her basketball IQ's off the charts.
And Alicia Froling finally gets one to drop through the rim. A 12-point advantage for the home squad Mustangs, looking to win 2 in a row here in their backyard. After they won their first 7 home games, had a 3-game slide in conference at home. Got back on track Tuesday against Memphis. UCF's last field goal came to give them an 18-9 first quarter lead with 52 seconds left in that opening quarter. They did not score a field goal in the second. And they're watching the Brandt show right now. That's her first miss. And Froling puts it right back. Quickly Froling with 4 points. Her first 2 field goals. And now a total of 5 points for Alicia. Make it 7 for Alicia.
That's a good timeout by UCF. She needs to get her kids calmed down a little bit and figure out how they can stop this run.
Knights face their biggest deficit on the road today, trailing by 14.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites, dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
Mustangs again overcoming a slow start, have since established a 14-point lead here midway in the third quarter. Lincoln Rose, Coach Angela Beck with you, 37-23. Travis Mays, the squad out on top.
Well, I think when you see that Bolton and Adams and Brandt scored 22 of their points, you knew that Froling was going to come into this mix somehow. But now the zone has spread out and had to pay attention to these guys because they're scared they're going to shoot, that it's opened up the middle and allowed Froling now to take over.
Froling averaging a double-double. Again, got some key offensive rebounds there to give the Mustangs a chance to pile onto their lead. Now 5 rebounds total, 2 on the offensive glass. And I believe the phrase is she's going to get hers eventually. And sure enough, now 6 points here in the third quarter.
Yeah, when I looked at Coach and talked to Coach Abe a little bit, I'm like, you know, we just talked personally, like you can't really write up what happened to her. Like, you just don't expect Brandt to do that. And against the zone where they were actually shooting it, it was really where her zone was really strong. So it's a tough way to go.
No pressure on the Knights as they bring the ball up the floor into the front court.
We haven't seen much of Polachek, and now she's in the game, so maybe they're looking for her to extend that defense a little bit.
A couple of Australians just towering over the shooter. Brandt missed her first 3 a moment ago, proves she's human.
They're out there Gardner, almost like face Gardner.
Polachek with the rebound. Bolton holds her ground. Great dish by Polachek as she finds Lewis on the opposite side of the lane.
I saw a brief smile by the coach. That's the kind of transition that she expects.
And that right there ends what was about a 14.5-minute drought that started back into the end of the first quarter. See if UCF can have the same success that SMU did once they finally got a shot to go.
Well, it's an important time to close out this quarter with a nice run. They need to pick up their defense, probably extend their defense, start pressing again. Their press did cause them problems early on, and then it's just attack off dribble penetration against the zone.
Bounce pass into Massey, and a travel back over to the Mustangs.
Yeah, that's when you want a little ball reversal by your big player. You take it, don't put it on the ground, there's no place to go, and reverse the ball.
And Froling walked, turning to the basket.
One of the things Coach talked about, Coach Travis Mays, about getting Froling the ball a little more at the high post. He was a little disappointed they hadn't. I don't know why he would be when you got everyone else scoring, but you know, it's where she is the best at the high post, and he wants to see her touching it more.
Only shot the ball twice in that first half.
I don't know if I would have predicted that they could win if that happened, so I'm glad they made me believe her.
Offensive putback for Omakore and the 5'11 sophomore. Part of this offensive renaissance this quarter now for UCF as they have a couple of field goals.
Well, Brandt with an offensive rebound against the towers of power.
And they can do that all day long, throwing to her fellow countrymate, Collins.
That's the first high-low I've seen all game, and it was very effective because they don't have an answer for it.
A little game of keep away for the Twin Towers. A 6'3" guard, a nice luxury to have in Alicia Froling. And 2 inches taller is Collins in the post, and a reach-in foul on Bolton here.
KK Wright is one of their playmakers. She came off a 10-assist game last game, and I haven't really seen a whole lot of her making a difference here.
4:34 to go in the third quarter. UCF trying to battle back right now, trailing by a dozen here on the road in Dallas.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites, dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
Well, UCF came to Dallas in with a 13-8 mark. They already had 10 wins before conference play even started around the holidays. And those 10 wins were notable because this senior class had never won more than 10 wins. That matched their best season over the past few years. But the Knights continuing to improve. Last year went 7-23, 4-14. I noted earlier the next landmark win would be a win today for UCF. It would match last year's conference win total.
They beat East Carolina at East Carolina, and they had never done that. So, you know, I think even winning anywhere on the road is just something special for them. I like what I'm seeing no matter what happens here this afternoon because they're well disciplined. They bought in. They listened to the coach. Their energy is amazing. If anything, they're maybe fighting so hard they can't see where the openings are because their will to win is there. Everything's there. It's just, you know, they're just, you know, figuring it all out. I think that SMU had an absolutely amazing second quarter that they've had to now try to withstand it and try to figure it out, but there's still plenty of time in this game for them to make it happen.
Amaura is simply not comfortable at the free throw line. It's a shame because, including today, she has now been at the charity stripe 94 free throw attempts this year, and she's made 40. Second chance opportunity, and she'll go back to the free throw line.
Yeah, this is kind of when you want to sub and get somebody in. I'm sure this was a good penetration dribble, and then she flips it into Omakori. Omakori has a habit of going a little bit too fast, but in that time she really took her time. But that was a great block by Bradshaw.
She did not look comfortable on her last two. That time will bank one home. Again, now 41 of 95 this year. She gets to the line almost as frequently as anybody in this conference.
Yeah, it just needs a little more, maybe arch and a little more touch on it, but I'm sure that coach has been working hard. It's hard to make everything perfect in that first year. That's probably been something she's been dealing with for a while.
Rolling out to Bolton. Remember, Bolton was the hero on Tuesday against Memphis. Today it's been Brandt, who's missed her last two now, and she gets the offensive rebound.
Well, she's a smooth customer.
Brandt trapped in that corner by Lewis. Adams, and there's a foul in the lane. And we'll see how they administer this.
Looks like they got Froling, and I'm not sure which one. But that was an interesting series because Adams is standing at three-point range going, how about passing it to me? Now that Brandt's in the game, you know, now they have two three-point scorers on the floor.
Both teams have been whistled 4 times now here in this third quarter. Adams into Froling. To go right back to the rim, and it slips out of her hand.
That's a good block by Massey.
Gregory, 11 points, leads the way for UCF here tonight. And passes just off the mark, ultimately looking for Massey.
Yeah, this is what I thought I'd see, a little pressure here to end the quarter.
Well, both Brandt and Adams, a couple of your three-point shooters, have come off the floor.
That might tell you where they want to go.
Perry went by 3 black-shirted defenders. Misses the layup, but Bradshaw's there to earn a trip to the free throw line.
You know, Perry's got so many gears, and that 4th and 5th gear, just if she could just control it just a little bit more, because she's an exciting player to watch. She just isn't able to finish a lot.
Mentioned a Dallas area product here in Clara Bradshaw. And Bradshaw about a 62% free throw shooter. Able to connect with one more to go. Down by 12. With a hand in the face, and they got Bradshaw for a foul there. Wow. They say she grazed the arm on the shot.
Well, here's a little pick, high post pick. Yeah, maybe on the way down. I do like the pick now that UCF is deciding to do. They're deciding to pick against the zone, and I like it because it's changing it up and it's allowing them to get into the interior a little more.
I mean, the way that ball came up a foot shy of the rim, you're inclined to think there was some sort of contact, but second free throw coming up here. As
it's been pretty well called so far, so.
Gregory looking for her 12th point. Got it. 11-point ball game. And three-pointer good from Lewis.
SMU needs to put the brakes on a little bit, play smart, control the tempo. These guys can come back and sting you in a hurry.
That's her second triple. She's 2 of 8 today. Lewis has attempted 150 three-pointers now this year.
She's open at the high post. Yeah, there you go.
There's the dribble, and it's stripped away. It's a 3-on-1. Mickens, the only Mustang back. And late to close is Bradshaw, and that's the worst-case scenario. The bucket will go, and a free throw coming up.
Yeah, I think I might be getting a little timeout here. Well, here she goes 1-on-2, and that was a great dig down by UCF. And then good transition bucket. One pass and a score. That's what you do on a 2-on-1.
That was the freshman KK Wright who stripped the ball and led the charge the other way. Ultimately picked up the assist.
She must have heard me talking about her a little earlier. I wondered where she was because they had really high hopes for her. She means a lot to them, and I haven't really heard much about her today.
We'll have to tell the announcers to talk about her more.
Well, I got to get her to do something.
She's averaging 31 minutes a contest. Meanwhile, her teammate, Gregory, with the three-point play.
She has 2 personal fouls, so that could have been part of it, you know, in the first half. Back to their little pressure defense, which I think is highly effective for them.
Adams back on the floor for SMU. Collins 1-on-1. Had the defender inside that restricted arc, and 2 more free throws for Collins. She has 3 points today.
Not a great free throw shooter. The bigger they are, the harder that free throw seems to be for most kids. She kind of pulls that left hand off and just doesn't have a real good follow through on it.
SMU led by as many as 14. It's a 5-point lead right now. And SMU is no stranger to a ball game like this. Truly a game of runs back and forth.
Well, UCF has found something offensively that they can do to score. That one was in and out, but a very good take for them.
Rolling. Gets the bucket. She has 9, and she'll look for her 10th point at the line.
I think the key is just to have them pass it to her at the high post. She's there. It's just a little floater, little high touch pass there. She sees that she's got the whole lane to get up to the rim, and she attacks it. A lot of players would just take the shot there and just turn and shoot it instead of going and engaging contact, but not Froling. She's going to go after it.
9 third-quarter points for Alicia Froling. And this one from 16 won't go for Wright. About a 6-second difference between the two clocks. SMU had a 10-point lead at the half. UCF's done a nice job. Had trimmed it within 5, albeit right now down by 8. And can cut into it here with perhaps the final shot of the third quarter. Oh, not patient enough. Force it in, and on the other end, oh, Bolton misses the bunny. Both teams would love to redo the past 40 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. But Bolton's little jump stop, show shot, froze that defender, but she faked herself out on that one. That one was so clean that she went, oh my God, I'm open.
Well, she had Froling right there. I think we would have criticized her for dishing it to Froling at the end and being too unselfish.
Correct.
But you're darned either way. Oh, silly foul, and that's going to be free throws for Alicia Froling.
Well, great place to put it with 5 seconds or less to go. Froling's going to be going north and south. That's to the rim, and something good is going to happen usually.
Again, she is averaging a double-double this year as a junior, 15 and 10. 11 points for Froling, 10 of them here in this quarter.
A couple inadvertent passes by UCF has caused them to dig back at another hole.
SMU reestablishes a 10-point lead heading into the fourth quarter at home. Looking for back-to-back wins inside Moody Coliseum here on the American Digital Network.
The American Athletic Conference Championship is right around the corner, taking place March 9th through the 12th at the Excel Center in Hartford, Connecticut, as all 11 American teams will compete for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Tickets are priced as low as $199. Get yours today online by visiting www.excelcenter.com, in person at the Excel Center box office, or by telephone at 877-522-8499. We look forward to seeing you in March.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Luminous, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yes, there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
If UCF is going to have a chance to pick up their fourth win in conference play and match last year's total, with still a month left to go, they're going to need that defense to reemerge here as it did in the opening quarter.
Well, they cut the lead to 5 in that quarter and did a much better job, but had a couple inadvertent passes down the stretch that they dug back in. So I think they're still capable of coming back. They just need to be extremely aggressive, try to get SMU out of their little, off kilter a little bit. Obviously, SMU's done a great job of putting it where it needs to go, which is Froling. That's where money's in the bank, and so they're putting it right into her.
SMU, after going 5 of 5 from downtown in the second quarter, goes 0 for 4 in the third as they watch UCF trim a 10-point deficit down to 5, only for UCF to again find a cold spell. Both teams getting to the free throw line late, able to make about 2/3 of their opportunities for the charity stripe. And some low percentage passes just being fired into the paint. And they'll say a clean block by the Knights.
That diagonal post pass that they're using is not good. There's nothing there. There's no advantage.
Quick release. It's Lewis who can catch fire in a hurry.
Well, that's what they need to do right there. Rock and fire. Get some set. They're a great offensive rebounding team. You can't rebound the ball if you don't shoot it.
She's now 3 of 9 from beyond the arc here in Dallas today. Give her 15 points. That matches Gregory for the team high. Collins tried to swat it out to Adams.
SMU's done a better job of handling UCF's pressure. The turnover situation's getting closer, so there's not a big advantage for UCF anymore.
And just another ball thrown away.
Inadvertent, just, I don't know.
There's a lot of passing before you actually see the person you're passing the ball to.
Yeah, and not turning and pivoting. I think if you turn and pivot, she didn't pivot. She just flipped it. So, I mean, this is where games are won and lost right here.
Nice speed, Adams. Good job closing late, but cannot deny Adams. Otherwise, good effort by Amaura defensively in the post for UCF. Just didn't want to commit the foul.
As I've seen Adams grow, I think that's the best part of her game right there, the ability to put it down and score at the rim. She didn't have that a couple of years ago. She was a standstill three shooter. Now she can take it, and she's not afraid to go and get the contact.
Those are the first 2 points for Adams since she had those 3 field goals to get the scoring started in the second quarter for SMU. That really helped pull them back into this ball game.
That, to me, was a quick shot. That's not what I would want to see my team do with 8 minutes to go. If she makes it, I guess she looks brilliant, but she missed it, and they get a quick shot back at the rim.
Offensive second chance opportunity will go, again, from the post from Amaura, the sophomore. Collins, the other end, and easily gets those 2 points right back.
I love that about Collins. She knows how to run the floor. She's beautiful when she gets up and down, and that was a good heads-up play.
And we've seen that from her the past couple of years. Can make a play on one end and it quickly gets to the other rim. Overcoming a couple of shoulder surgeries in the offseason, Amaura has the last 2 buckets for the Knights.
Well, Amaura's been a workhorse all game for them. She's been, you know, being physical in there, trying to guard people. She's just trying to do it all. She's getting a little tired, but my hat's off to her.
Shot clock halfway down. Wide open, Adams for 3, doesn't go. Lewis with the rebound. 2-on-1. Great pass from Lewis, she finds Gregory. 17 points for Leah Gregory, and the Knights will take a timeout and try to bottle this up.
Great transition bucket. They've had a couple perfect looks, 2-on-1s with no dribble, just pass and score.
Well, 30-second timeout by the Knights, but we'll go ahead and take an official timeout now. 49-44, a 5-point lead for SMU. Their lead again cut in half with 6:48 remaining in regulation.
Ticket packages for the American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship are now on sale. Head to Mohegan Sun Arena March 3rd through the 6th to watch all 11 American teams in action, fighting for an automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. Tickets start as low as $99. Get yours today by visiting the Mohegan Sun Arena box office, going online to mohegansun.com or on Ticketmaster, and also available by phone at 1-800-745-3000. Let the games begin. We'll see you in March.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Limitless, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites. Dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
SMU trying to cheer on their Mustangs to back-to-back home victories here in Dallas. As Mustangs at one point in the first half trailed by 11, then would go on to lead by as many as 14. And again, we're getting a little bit closer to the middle now. It's a 5-point discrepancy on the scoreboard. SMU hanging on to the 5-point advantage. And full court press here from UCF coming out of the timeout that they called.
It's going to be the ability to move the basketball and not turn it over, and then have the right people scoring down the stretch. That's a turnover.
A travel on Bolton, who heaved that ball down the floor.
This is when you have to play to win. I'm not saying she didn't in the instance, but you have to attack, move the basketball, not be afraid of that press. I think she thought about what she wanted to do before she did it.
Yeah, we saw SMU a couple of times fail to get across midcourt. Of course, a few years ago, the women's game adopted the clock in the backcourt. And that is Gregory now 19 points today. She had 22 in the last meeting against SMU last March in the conference tournament. Timeout, Morgan Bolton and SMU, a 30-second timeout.
Well, I would sure like to see Collins or Froling get to the middle of the court, so when they get trapped, they have some place to go. Right now they don't. They're standing too far back. They don't have an outlet. And so, yes, it's their bad for eating it, but they need to get the heart of that defense. You know, they got to get somebody right in the heart, and that's in the middle.
So Coach Abe has her squad gathered around. Right now back within 3 points. Credit to UCF here on the road. They've run into some obstacles, but have stayed in it.
Well, they've definitely had some good runs, and then they've sustained some runs by SMU. One of the things that they've talked about is sometimes they lack some focus in the game, but I think they have their focus back, and this is going to be a great closeout.
Knights had a 14.5-minute stretch in this ball game, going from the first quarter to the third quarter without a field goal, and yet here they are, perhaps one shot away from tying it up. Collins will stretch it back to a 2-possession lead.
That's a high percentage bucket, and that's where you want to go down the stretch.
Third field goal for Collins. And her shot chart tends to be pretty consistent right there around the rim, as Collins with 7 points here today.
Once again, I love it when Froling gets the foul.
As the third whistle on Froling.
Because she doesn't ever think she's fouled, and it's a beautiful thing.
Tim Duncan made a pretty good career out of it.
That's a good parallel.
Gregory dribbles out of trouble. The late dish. Froling with the rebound, and they'll get a foul. Just wrong place, wrong time defensively by Massey.
Coach Abe can't believe that. That's a tough foul right there.
Froling now with 8 rebounds to go with her 12 points. Adams splits defenders. And last touch by, looked like Adams. They're going to say it stays here with SMU. McCory back on for Massey.
Well, McCory looks like she's gimping a little bit. I think she's got something going on. She's playing with a lot of heart, but she's not able to watch her run. There's something going on with her.
We are midway through this fourth quarter in the American between SMU and UCF. Froling too strong. Bolton's trying to redirect traffic defensively for the Mustangs. Nice catch and dish out. Gregory looking for help.
Well, Gregory and Lewis are the two go-tos down the stretch. They're the ones that can make it happen.
Lob in, saw an opportunity. Nice job by Froling trying to seal things off, but still the reverse goes.
Well, that was a good take. Just solid putback.
SMU's lead back down to 3. And a chance perhaps for UCF to tie here. Oh, draw the bottom of the backboard, but SMU commits the foul.
Yeah, Perry has, if she can just get a little more arch on that shot over there, she just shoots a really flat shot, and her chances are tough to make. And then on this end, she just got kind of a little bit sloppy and caught him from behind.
McCory would have much preferred to have made that basket. You mentioned she's had a hitch in her giddy-up.
Here's the pass into her, and
they're going to say McCory is not healthy enough to shoot the free throws, and they have allowed a substitution, Nyla Schuler.
Wow.
Who, in and of her own right, is less than a 50% shooter from the line.
They're asking her to lay out down there. This is like, okay, stay down there and act like you're almost hospitalized. I'm surprised Coach Travis is pretty cool about it, but we'll see how quickly she enters the game.
Schuler makes 1 of 2, and that'll better her season average. But it was McCory who was scheduled to shoot those free throws.
She's just getting up now and coming to the front of the bench.
See if she can make a miraculous return. McCory was 2 of 6 from the charity stripe, and, well, I'm going to go ahead and call some shenanigans.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's going to be too out there, you know, if you do that. I mean, it's good strategy if you can get away with it, and they did, because she went in after the next dead ball.
Stripped away, and you get a foul called on Collins for lingering on that ball.
Well, you talked about bringing it down, right?
Yeah.
And at 6'5", I don't know why she's got it at her chest.
That's a tough foul call.
Yeah. A lot of interesting things happening here.
She was still in possession of that ball. And SMU is watching a lead evaporate down to 2 right now.
So they're running a screen against the zone, and then they're just dribble penetrating, and SMU's fouling them almost every time. They need to make them earn it.
UCF being told they're not shooting free throws yet. And no time came off the shot clock. 3:52 to go here in regulation. This was a 10-point lead for SMU coming into the 4th. It's down to 2. UCF could potentially take a lead for the first time here in the second half.
Look for Gregory and Lewis to make things happen. They're definitely a different team with KK in there, number 2.
Release. Looking for the lead, and it's Froling with the rebound. 1 shy of a double-double. And the Mustangs give it back over to UCF without ever getting a shot off. Another chance for the Knights to take a lead here.
These coaches are pretty calm considering these balls flying around here. Good defense by Bolton that time to keep Gregory out of the paint. 16 seconds on the shot clock.
Able to save it, keep it in play, right. KK off the mark.
The #1 offensive rebounding team in the American.
Well,
right there.
Massey has to be careful. She's playing with 4 fouls and almost was guilty of clearing the way there.
If that had happened on the other side of the floor, it would have been different. Right in front of her bench, she gets protected.
Fires in, Omakore. They're going to count the bucket. She'll shoot a free throw if she can get up, and she is.
Well, that was a great dribble drive by KK. Or that was actually Lewis.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you do call the offensive foul before anything else. And you negate the bucket. Our officials right on top of it there. SMU calls the timeout. Offensive foul again keeps them up by 2. 51-49 with 2:13 to play here at Dallas. Lincoln Rose, Angela Beck, we look at that UCF huddle. The Knights have come so close to closing the gap. They've had opportunities. Their defense has kept them in this ball game as of late.
And the Knights have lost, several this year by close. I mean, this team could be really good if you look at their schedule. They lost by 2 to Virginia Tech, 1 to Buffalo, 3 to Memphis. So, I mean, they've had some tight games. It just gets down to, who's gonna make it happen here late.
When you watch basketball in the American, so many of these ball games, regardless of whether you're in the middle of the pack or at the bottom of the standings, have come down to just a couple of possessions late.
Exactly, and I think that the Knights, they've done a good job of coming in here and making it a game down the stretch. But, what has to happen is SMU right now needs to get the ball in the right people's hands. They need to get Froling back at the high post, move it side to side, and find her opening somehow, some way right now so she can either get the high-low or take it off the dribble.
That offensive foul, meanwhile, on Zykira Lewis gives her 4. So Massey and Lewis are both playing with 4 fouls. Have to be careful. No Mustang with more than 3.
So take a look and see if we get anybody in the middle of this zone press. Right there is where Froling needs to stop, to stay there, to give him a release and not back out.
And SMU still not comfortable bringing that ball up the floor.
Well, they're trying to dribble through it, and it's a tough thing to dribble through.
But you can see the foundation in place for UCF on what is going to be their calling card for the next several years. Ten to shoot. Now it's 5-on-4. Adams with a big stroke, a 2-possession lead back intact for SMU.
That's a big-time bucket, high arching shot by her.
And UCF respond on the other end. Again, Lewis playing with 4 fouls, as is Massey banging in the post. Massey goes right at Collins, who holds her ground. Offensive rebound by Massey. And she almost throws away. Here's Bolton, 2-on-1. Oh, a dangerous foul as Bolton will hit the deck. Don't be surprised if they go back and look at that one. But Bolton will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Yeah, just an inadvertent pass out. She didn't pivot again. She tries to save it. Bolton takes it and then gets kind of swatted from behind, actually grabbed on the waist. So that looks like it could be an intentional foul, and that would be 2 shots in the ball back.
Predictably, our officials will go to the monitor to take a look. What they'll see is really no play on the ball whatsoever, which leads you to believe it'll be free throws. It'll also be possession for SMU.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do then. The game's right on the line, but, she's trying to get her stop. But you got to go for the ball. You got to at least act like your hand's up there after the ball. Yep. So here we take another look. See, she wasn't really able to pivot out of that. She saves it, but nobody else runs from the...
2 times you don't want to save the ball. If you're on the defensive end and you're throwing into the offensive team's lane, and also midcourt if there's nobody in transition other than the other team.
And then the Knights didn't run. I mean, once she threw it there and her teammate was trying to save it, they all stayed underneath the basket, kind of hoping she'd get it. So
our officials have seen all they need from the replay monitor to review the foul. They're talking it over.
My bet it'll be intentional and two shots in the ball back. But I was never a good official, so I'm going to say that probably isn't true.
As you look at Coach Abe in her huddle, still plenty of time to mount a comeback. You just can't make the small mistakes down the stretch.
Well, if this is what the Americans going to get with these two coaches, these two head coaches that are brand new for our league, we are very happy to have you and so excited to see this caliber of effort and play and sportsmanship from both teams.
About to get the announcement on the final ruling.
Two-shot foul.
They are simply saying it's a common foul. So free throws and nothing more here for Bolton.
She gets 2 free throws. I told you I wasn't a very good official.
And the reason for the free throw is simply she was fouled in the act of that layup. And one more to go. A break for UCF. See if Bolton can stretch this to a 6-point lead. It would still just be 2 possessions, and the Knights obviously have some capable 3-point shooters, including Zykeira Lewis. So Bolton does her job.
Ice in her veins.
You don't need threes. Plenty of time left.
But you need to score quickly. It's too much time.
Lewis, a long 2.
There you go.
Out to Gregory. Next foul would lead to free throws. 0 for 3 are the Knights, and Bolton finally has it for the Mustangs.
You got to get a foul.
And there it is from KK Wright. So Bolton, who's been quiet compared to that breakout shooting performance against Memphis, when she was 5 of 6 from beyond the arc, is going to get to contribute here late in a different role simply from the free throw line. Already 8 points today for Bolton. Again, she too from Duncanville High School, former state champion, now a senior, averaging 5 points a ball game. And she's now made these last 3 free throws. Bradshaw comes on for Collins. SMU gets an inch taller. This is a 7-point lead. That's now 3 possessions. It was a big free throw there a moment ago from Bolton. And there's just 0.7 seconds difference between the 2 clocks. Timeout, Coach Abe in UCF. There'll be a full timeout. Half a minute to go. The Knights are looking up at a 6-point, making an 8-point deficit right here on the road in Dallas today.
Access to traditional prosthetics for kids is challenging. At Limitless, my goal is really to give them a chance to chase their dreams and to instill confidence so that they can go after whatever they want.
De ver o sonho meu, do meu filho, sendo realizado. Isso não tem preço.
The labs at UCF were so instrumental. I couldn't be in a better place. This is where I call my home.
Well, some future Mustangs taking in this one. Again, a lot of young ladies will have a chance to do some clinics, not just with the women's basketball team, but student athletes from all sorts of women's programs at SMU that we saw at halftime come out and wave to the fans. Well, the Mustangs trying to start off the day on a winning note here on the basketball court. UCF has shown off its defense, at times frustrated SMU, never giving the Mustangs even a chance to set up their offense. But as of late, a few mistakes down the stretch, and UCF just has not been able to erase what was a 10-point halftime lead. They got back within 2, only to see some Morgan Bolton free throws, 4 now in the past half minute. Stretch this lead to 8 for the Mustangs. Reminder, stay tuned. Upon the conclusion of this ball game, we'll have a chance to talk to the winning head coach and one of the key players in this contest. Go inside, and a nice start. Only takes 5 seconds off of the clock as Gregory adds now 21 points for her outing. 1 point shy of that overtime performance against SMU. And UCF will call another timeout. And actually, pardon me, it'll be SMU who calls the timeout. So Gregory gets it back to a 2-possession ball game. Knights will need to force a turnover. If they can't do so quickly, they'll have to foul and send SMU to the free throw line. And this is crunch time. So many of these teams in the middle of the pack in the conference. These are the moments that they have to be able to recognize how to elevate their game, and the difference between a close win and a great comeback. Into Bolton, who's made her last 4 free throws, and they do have to foul. And that's on Lewis. She has fouled out for the ball game. Her 5th. Zykira Lewis, 15 points against SMU here today. And that removes one of your better 3-point shooters, obviously the program's all-time leading 3-point shooter, from the equation here. Morgan Bolton here in crunch time has made 5 in a row from the free throw strike. And she is now in double figures with 10. And I'll correct that, 11 points now for Bolton. And she'll miss the back end. But it's a 3-possession ball game with that lone free throw. They'd be wise not to foul. Gregory with 23 here on the road. Easier said than done when you're told to foul Morgan Bolton. And that will be the 5th foul on KK Wright. Wright held scoreless today. Will come out Polacek in her place. And this was a grind out victory, presumably for SMU, now 14 seconds away. And Bolton's now missed her last 2. UCF still with a chance, even with this free throw. It would be a 2-possession ball game. You need a quick 3 and try to force a turnover with the press. So the Knights need a couple of triples. Gregory. Oh, she'll keep it within reach. Gregory with 26 points now here in Dallas. And that took just about 5 seconds total for the shot and the foul. And if that foul is on Massey, it was. That's her 5th. She becomes the 3rd Knight to foul out here in the final minute. Adams with 11 points. And it's back to 2 possessions. Well, Leah Gregory has done everything you could ask of her. 26 points tonight, including a big 3 a moment ago to keep it interesting. And she'll shoot 3 free throws. It's a 5-point ball game. Gregory, you'd have to imagine if she can make the first 2, would intentionally miss the next one, hoping for an offensive rebound and a 3 to tie. And that option's still available. This is a big free throw right here. "28 points for Gregory. And this is where she looks over to the bench for the instruction. What do you want me to do here? A miss and an offensive rebound would create a chance for a 3. It has to hit the rim. And that will give it to SMU. It should be SMU's basketball. The free throw must hit the rim. So now UCF needs their press to force a turnover. 4.6 seconds on the clock. A foul before the inbounds. Bolton will shoot free throws. If Morgan Bolton can make 1 of 2, and actually they're saying Adams was fouled, not Bolton. If Adams can make 1 of 2, that should be it. Two-possession lead for SMU. Down by 5. Gregory won't get it off in time. SMU has won back-to-back home games as Travis Mays' Mustangs will move right back into the middle of the pack in the American. We take a quick break. When we come back, Angela Beck will be joined by Travis Mays and one of the top Mustangs from tonight.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites, dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yes, there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
Well, SMU continues to find ways to win on the American Digital Network. They enjoy the bright lights. Head coach Travis Mays is with our Angela Beck.
Coach Mays, an outstanding team performance. Where does this rank as a head coach here?
Every win ranks at the top of my list right now. They made it a whole lot more interesting than I wanted to. I don't know why we fouled there at the end. I just wanted to try and close it out to make free throws. And unfortunately, they was making shots. Fortunately for them, but unfortunately for us, they continued to make shots.
15 points off your bench.
The bench was huge. And I think Amaura started it in the first half by knocking those threes down. I think it gave our team the confidence that they needed to finish the first half. And we just tried to get anybody to contribute in the second half so we can come away with the win.
Your defense and rebounding were outstanding.
Yes. It got a little bit shaky there at the end when we continued to give them offensive rebounds and they continued to have three-point attempts. I was just glad and we were fortunate that they didn't make any of them.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you so much.
player of the game right now, McKenzie Adams. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
15 points, but they came at crucial times. I thought you really had some key baskets. Talk about that.
I think we did a really good job moving the ball. So you couldn't key in on one person who was going to score. Like, I think we moved it really, really well. So I was wide open a lot of times. So.
You have a great high-arcing shot, but one thing I like about your game is that you now do it off the dribble. When did you improve that?
This summer, for sure. A lot of times I was either getting to the basket all the time or just pulling up, but I know I would be harder to guard if I added that to my game.
Outstanding performance by you today. Back to you, Lincoln.
All right, thank you. Congratulations to Adams and her teammates, as ultimately we see 9 points from Amaura Brandt, a surprise 9 points, and proved to be a much-needed 9 points from the daughter of the assistant coach for Travis Mays, again, in Mike Brandt, his first year on the staff, and a season high for Brandt along the way. SMU picks up the 4th win in conference play, now 4-6 in conference, 13-10 overall. Mustangs back-to-back wins here at home, able to topple UCF here today. For Angela Beck, I'm Lincoln Rose. Big thank you to our entire AD and production crew. Mustangs win this one 63-58.